And then relax your arm, and I'm just going to wiggle it. And then I'll be gentle with this one. Relax as much as you can. I'm going to wiggle it. And then hold it like you're stopping traffic. And then spread your fingers and don't let me push them together. And then same thing here. And then you can rest it down. And does it feel the same on both sides? Yep. Sensations, same on the face? Yep. Do this. Hold your head still and just with your eyes. Go down. And then hold your eyes still and just with your head go. Okay, that's good. And then smile. And you can relax. And then hold your head still. Go side to side again. And let me watch you walk. Come on out here.
I've had 3 neck surgeries over the last
Have you?
30 years, 40 years.
Okay. The hammer. And do you feel that your voice has changed or your facial expression has changed? Like it's softer, you can't get as much volume to it?
No, but
Same thing here. And, well, I have good news for you. I don't think it's Parkinson's disease.
good. I'm just doing this for my daughter.
I don't think it's Parkinson's disease.
Yay!
I definitely think it's an essential tremor that you've got. And if you don't, the regimen you're on is a good one. The primidone is probably the most effective drug for an essential tremor. Propranolol is a close second. They don't interact with each other. Do you have side effects that you know of from the primidone?
Not that I know of.
Do you take it at night or in the day or both?
Propranolol is twice a day, once in the morning, once in the evening.
Mm-hmm.
And primidone, I think, is just, I take 2 of them at bedtime.
At bedtime? Okay, good. Because primidone's a long-acting one. It'll usually carry into the next day. And it'll kind of make you sleepy, so if you take it at bed, I usually recommend just dosing it at bedtime. Because it'll help you get to sleep.
And too, but no, we haven't done that yet.
What's that? Oh, he's going
to. He said he could up the dosage, but he didn't really want to, and I don't want him to either if I don't have to.
I don't think you should right now, actually. I mean, if this is holding you, you're at a...
I'm fair, yeah. I'm an insurance agent. I write fairly legibly.
And okay, because your job still involves writing. That's my next question. Okay. That is probably the barometer that I would use of do you need more or should we do something different? You know, is it... Because my question is always, is it affecting your work? Or, for folks who don't work or who are retired or home, I'm sensitive to the fact it can be a cosmetic bother or a functional bother if you're throwing soup over your shoulder. But I usually try to talk folks out of high doses of medicines.
Okay.
And in your case, if you're able to do your job okay, you don't feel like it's impacting it, I think stay at 100.
Yeah.
It takes about 2 months to get to appreciate the full benefit of primidone because it's got such a long half-life that you take each dose and it goes in and out, but it reaches a steady state over a longer period of time.
Okay.
So, and you said you've been on it for about that long now, right?
Probably.
I can't keep up, sorry.
Probably 3 months at least.
3 months at least. Okay. I definitely think stay at this dose for now if it's helping you at work. I mean, if work is not meaningfully impacted.
No, it's not. If I exert myself, it can get worse.
And you've probably noticed also that stress, losing sleep, caffeine make it worse. Alcohol makes it a little bit better.
Ooh, yes.
I'm not telling you to drink. I've been accused of actually.
I can't drink one beer, so my blood down.
Right.
Yeah.
I've been accused of telling patients to drink before. I didn't say that. I just said if it actually is. It's a diagnostic thing in essential tremor. GABA affects alcohol affects the same receptors, the GABA receptors, that like primidone does. No, but I'm not saying to drink. In fact, but after everything you've been through, I probably wouldn't.
Yeah.
I probably wouldn't.
Probably.
Do you guys have kids?
I have three.
Three.
And any of them have a tremor? No. Okay.
Amanda,
may.
the physical therapist, may have a slight.
Slight one. So a lot of the time, an interesting thing about your case, essential tremor is much more commonly inherited than Parkinson's disease.
Okay.
So when I hear like a bunch of people, I mean, I believe probably, I'm going to just go ahead and take what you told me as true, but it sounds like your mother was at an age where it wouldn't be uncommon to develop Parkinson's. The incidence is higher. But especially since there's this strong family history, I'm kind of wondering essential tremor does that a lot. Parkinson's does it a little bit, but less often where like a lot of people in the family have it. And yours, to me, when I'm seeing you with my eyes, this is clearly ET.
Okay.
I would like to say, where do you guys live?
Elberton.
Where's that?
2 hours away. It's 35 miles east of Athens.
Was I worth it?
Sure, you're worth it.
Who told you about me?
My daughter,
Who's she?
Amanda Orsley, that's a physical therapy assistant.
Therapy.
With Dreyer.
They talk, have the,
Yes,
who
they
would I
do.
want somebody to see.
They do.
So.
Well, it's my privilege. I'm glad someone said something good. I guess out of respect to that, I don't think you need to see me soon.
Okay.
I'm happy to actually do the meds and everything now, like when you need refills.
Okay.
And why don't you come back in 6 months or a year would be fine with me.
Okay.
Either one of those.
Okay.
If you're getting worse at all in the meantime, I've seen you. We've got a
Right.
sort of a baseline, and we'll regroup about it.
Okay.
Okay.
But I feel confident that you have essential tremor.
Well, good. Well, I mean, that's what we prefer to hear by all means.
Yes,
What is
absolutely.
the essential tremor?
Well, good question. So, people who study it see that it's a slowing of the response of the feedback loop from your limbs to your brain and back. So anytime, like even I'm holding, all of us, sometimes I got a little shake if I've had my third cup of coffee, but when you're holding your hand out, if you look at it under a microscope, there is sensation that comes from your joints, little joints, and the big joints. Connect your fingers to your hand and the wrist joint and your arm of where it is in space. There's sensors that tell you that. And those sensors are always subconsciously sending streams of input into your brain, and your brain is sending, as you try to keep it still, your brain is sending a feedback loop back to your hand, to your shoulder, elbow, wrist, and fingertips in response. So your brain is doing this subconsciously hundreds of times a second. There's a zzz loop. And researchers that study essential tremor have found that loop appears to be just slightly delayed.
Uh-huh.
Some researchers think it's a small defect in the nerve's insulation, the myelin's ability to carry the signal fast. Some researchers think it's a problem with the brain's processing and response time. I mean, either way, I guess what I would reassure you is it's such a common disease that the clinical side of it, like what happens with it and what drugs work, is well known. So I don't think there's uncertainty in your case that, I don't want you to worry that your nerves or brain are abnormal or anything.
Right.
I mean, in a bad way. But when it goes a little slower, you can imagine, it just takes your hand a little bit, it's a little less efficient when it's doing those adjustments. So did that make sense?
Yes.
It's a problem in that feedback loop is the main point.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. And it usually, even at your age, so you're 63, it is thought to be a progressive condition. But it progresses at a glacially slow pace. So my message still would be one of optimism. I would say I'll see you forever, and even let's say when you're 80, it'll be a little more apparent, but it's not. I don't think it's going to disable you by then.
Okay.
I don't think so. So I sing an optimistic song. It'll probably be more apparent, more obvious to people, but we've got medicines, we can ooch the doses, and we can really titrate them to however much it is bothering you. If you come back and say, I don't want to be on these drugs, let's wean them off, let's see how bad it gets. If you came back, even if it's a little bit worse, but you say, I can live this way, that's okay.
Uh-huh.
So it's a discussion. But right now, I don't think I want to change anything with you, though.
I think more before I had my medicine, but I would pick up a cup of hot coffee and it would get worse. But it's not doing that as much now. So.
Yeah, that and the writing, I don't want to change anything right now, but probably for the foreseeable future, I'd say just let's keep doing what you're doing.
Okay.
Is that okay with you, Amanda?
That's right. Look, we have a friend, and it's a completely different thing, but he was telling us his dad had a granite fell on him, and they had to take most of his leg from here down off. And then about a year later, he started having major shaking and tremor. So they're looking into doing that surgery on his brain.
Right. The
So,
DBS.
yeah.
You're never going to need that.
Okay, good.
I don't think you're ever. In fact, there's an interesting new study. It came out of Israel where they did ultrasound therapy to the brain, non-invasive, and they pulsed an ultrasound at something called the thalamus deep in the brain, and it appeared to help essential tremor a lot. It's not ready for prime time yet.
Okay.
They're still kind of they're toying with it. But I mean, in your lifetime, new drugs, new technologies will come out and especially, I mean, in the next decade, this isn't going to crash in the mountain ever. And so even if it gets worse over the next decade, I think we're going to have tons of more treatment options.
Okay.
Sounds good.
But I got an optimistic song for you.
Okay, thank you very much.
That is wonderful.
Yes, sir.
I'm so glad we came.
Likewise, I'm glad you did too.
Yeah.